Navigating the UK's FCA authorization process, well, it's a huge hurdle for any financial services firm, right? Today, we're going to dig into why so many applications actually fail and, more importantly, what you can do to de-risk the whole process. We're drawing on insights from the specialists over at Compliance Consultant. You might know them as the Compliance Doctor. So let's just get right to it. This is the big question, isn't it? After all those months of hard work, pulling everything together, how can you be absolutely sure you're ready for the regulator's scrutiny? Are you positive you haven't missed something?
Because here's the reality, and this is straight from the FCA's own data. A staggering 1 in 4 applications gets rejected. Just let that sink in for a second. That's a 25% failure rate. And look, this isn't about bad firms with bad intentions. It's about good firms with hidden gaps that even the sharpest internal teams can easily overlook.
Which brings us to what you could call the application minefield. So why is this happening? Why are so many well-intentioned, well-resourced applications falling short? Well, it usually comes down to a few common but absolutely critical pitfalls that can derail the entire thing.
So what are we talking about here? These aren't some obscure technicalities. The FCA flags these things all the time. Things like inadequate governance, not having clear oversight and accountability, or gaps in your anti-money laundering framework. And a huge one right now is failing to properly embed the consumer duty. And then there's just basic stuff like getting your capital calculations wrong. It happens more than you'd think.
And here's the real kicker. None of this is a big mystery. The frustrating truth is that most of these failures are completely preventable. The problem is, when you're so deep in the work, you just can't see the forest for the trees. You're too close to it to spot the very things a regulator is trained to find in about 5 minutes.
Okay. So if the problem is the lack of an expert, independent set of eyes, what's the solution? Well, it's pretty simple, really. You get that expert review before you hit submit, and that's exactly where a targeted assurance review comes into play. So what is a regulatory assurance review? Honestly, the best way to think about it is like a full dress rehearsal. It's a deep dive, independent assessment of your entire application pack, designed to spot the weaknesses from the regulator's perspective long before it ever lands on their desk. And we're not talking about a quick skim read here. This is a comprehensive 195+ point assessment, and the outputs are designed for you to take action immediately. You get a super clear dashboard, a really detailed report for your team, and even board-ready documents. The whole idea is you have everything you need to fix the problems before you submit.
And just look at the sample dashboard. This is what I mean by clear. Instead of reading pages and pages, you get this at-a-glance view. It uses that simple red, amber, green rating. Green, you're looking good. Amber, like you see here for governance and consumer duty, means, whoa, hold on, we've got work to do. It immediately gives you a prioritized roadmap.
All right, so you're probably thinking, this sounds great, but how does it actually work? Well, the good news is, the process is designed to be incredibly straightforward and to cause as little disruption as possible.
It's a simple 4-step process. First, you complete a detailed questionnaire. Second, a senior consultant gets to work doing a deep dive expert review. Third, and this is the fast part, you get your dashboard and report back in just 5 to 7 business days. And then step 4, the most important one. You fix the gaps, and you submit your application with a whole new level of confidence. So we've covered the how, but now let's talk about the why. What is the real, tangible value here? Let's get down to brass tacks and look at why this is a critical strategic move, not just some nice to have.
Look, a review is only as good as the expert who's doing it, right? And the credentials here really speak for themselves. We're talking about more than 20 years of hands-on UK regulatory experience, a track record of supporting over 100 successful authorizations. This isn't guesswork. This is seasoned, chartered expertise. And this is where it gets really interesting. Let's just talk about the investment versus the alternative. On one hand, you have the fixed, known cost of this review. On the other hand, well, you've got the risk of huge delays. We're talking 6 to 12 months, not to mention the potential for much, much larger consultancy fees and the sting of rejection and resubmission costs. When you see it laid out like this, the economics are pretty clear.
And that really just sums it all up, doesn't it? Getting authorized the first time isn't about getting lucky. It's about being better prepared. It's about having the foresight to stress test your own application before you hand it over to the regulator.
Okay, so let's be really direct. Who is this review actually for? It's important to know if this is the right fit for you and when it might not be.
So this is absolutely for you if you're already in the thick of preparing your application and you genuinely want that independent assurance, if you want to find the gaps before the FCA does. But let's be honest, it's not for you if you haven't even started yet or if you're just looking for someone to write the whole thing for you. And it's definitely not for you if you're just looking for a rubber stamp. This is about real assurance.
So if that first column sounds exactly like you, and you're ready to get this application across the finish line with real confidence, the next step is super simple.
Because at the end of the day, that's what this is all about. It's about securing your application's success. It's about taking one proactive, strategic step to protect all the time and money you've already invested, and just getting your business up and running.
To find out more and talk about your specific application, you can book a no-obligation discovery call using the link, or just give compliance consultant a call directly. All the details are right there on your screen. Thanks for watching.